Gen Z is not having sex, or at least not as much as the previous generations. And there's a lot of theories floating around about why this is, right? Some people like to blame the economy and how, most people feel like the government doesn't care about them. They don't see the incentive to procreate, which could be why just people aren't having as much sex or probably protecting themselves from that. Some people blame technology and how social dynamics are different. Kids are awkward. Guys aren't approaching women in public. Women, they're acting their own type of way. We got this whole modern woman thing going on. Guys wanting them to still be traditional. So there's a disconnect between men and women. But let's go ahead and check out this woman's video right here on this subject, man.
Gen Z isn't having sex because nothing is sexy right now. To be sexy means to be sex-like. What does that even mean in 2026? In a world built on optimization, artificial intelligence, and polished social media accounts, where does that leave space for something that is inherently primal and unfiltered? Hi, my name is Andrea Mizrahi, and welcome to episode 35 of It Really Is That Deep. And today we're talking about the sex recession. The term was coined in 2018 by Atlantic writer Kate Julian, but the data has only gotten more extreme since.
The sex recession, man, it's a real drought out here. Hold on, let me look at this data, right? It says in general, how often would you say you have sex? And this is people 18 to 24. So 40% say never. That's crazy, right? That's crazy to me. But, I grew up with a lot of guys who were like, even if they were awkward or, they, just lower tier level of guy, not that good looking, don't got the social skills, don't really have any attributes that make them stand out to women and shit like that. Even if they were like that, at least by the time they graduated high school or went to college at minimum, they started to at least have some sexual interactions. It may have not been the most good looking of women, right? But they would have at least had some. And the woman for sure, right? For that answer to be never, I don't know what the gender specifics of how much women they polled and asked this question versus how much men that they asked this question to, but 40%, that's very alarming, right?
Since then. So yes, people are having less sex. But the more interesting question here is why? Because on paper, this really shouldn't be happening. We have more access to each other than ever, whether it be through social media, through dating apps, through texting. We're in constant communication. Instead of increasing connection, it's actually doing the opposite. Instead of meeting people, we scroll through them instead. As I'm sure we all know, doom scrolling isn't a cure for loneliness, and it leads to a more depressed, isolated, and socially inept society. If we think of relationship building as a muscle that slowly gets stronger the more that we interact with people in real life, mass phone addiction is slowly starting to deteriorate our ability to connect entirely. On top of that, we now have access to people at a scale that we were never meant to process. Without realizing it, that abundance makes people feel disposable, especially in dating. I've heard people describe dating apps as online shopping for sex, and it kind of makes sense. There's now endless options, constant comparison, and the illusion that there's always someone that's better. And at the same time, we have unlimited access to sex itself through things like pornography, which are now even more amplified by AI. You can access perfect bodies, perfect scenarios, and even artificial partners on demand. What happens to real life?
And the thing about this, and I was talking about this like over a year ago at this point now, right? When it comes to the AI and all of that stuff, I think that's just going to make humans even more disconnected, because imagine if you can get, the same experience, because mind you, whether you're, masturbating, whether you are with a real person, or whether it's 2030, the year 2030, and you are with like a real, humanoid robot person, and, you're having a sexual experience with that thing, your mind, your subconscious isn't going to be able to differentiate, or is not going to be able to see the difference between that. It's going to see that as all like the same experience. So I think human to human connection is only going to separate more, and technology is a big part of it, man. But like I said, I do think the economic factors are also a big deal as well.
attraction. Okay, phone addiction feels like a pretty obvious aspect of this phenomenon, but there's also a major cultural shift that's happening right now as well. We've moved away from the messy, chaotic, hyper-social club culture from the 2010s to a much more controlled, put-together lifestyle, especially with the rise of social media. This clean lifestyle makes me think of going to bed and waking up early, doing daily wellness routines, being productive as possible, and not drinking or going out too much.
And it's not even about like drinking or going out or having clubs and have all that stuff, because I've heard that talking point too, right? But I just think there's not enough spaces, and most people don't feel like they have time to do things that, aren't giving them, that aren't making money, right? So, we used to have like a lot, like me, for example, like I like to go to the park. I like to, go play basketball with my homies. I like to, if it's a festival in town, I might chill and go to that for a little bit. But I've noticed these events, they get kind of smaller and smaller because less people feel like they even have time to go and do these things and be in these social spaces. And then when they are there, especially a lot of the younger people, they got that like social anxiety to where it's not possible for them to just go and talk to somebody that's a new person. Me, I've been around the world. I travel solo a lot of the time. So yeah, I have to just go up and just speak to people. Sometimes random people speak to me. That shit it's a regular, it's a normal thing to me. But I realize for a lot of these kids, that's not something that they are, that a lot of them are scared to do that. So yeah, not having as much clubs, pubs, bars, in all of those type of spaces as well are a big factor. But it's not just that, it's just that people don't feel like they have the time to entertain anything that's kind of extracurricular, because of, we got to make money, right? Hustle culture. We got to get to it, right?
While protecting your peace may seem like a good social norm, it really does leave less room for spontaneity, risk, and the kinds of environment where sex actually happens. Seriously, why is no one at the club anymore? Oh wait, I know why no one's at the club anymore. It's the economy. Because why does a cocktail cost me $17 plus tip for it to not even get me buzzed? It isn't just that going out is too expensive now. Having access to a private space is more expensive than ever. Getting more people to have multiple roommates or live at home with their parents. So even if you want to have sex, where are you supposed to do it without any privacy? When you combine financial stress, lack of privacy.
Hey man, that's something that never stopped the previous generation. Let me tell you, man. Hey, we was doing it anywhere we could. We didn't worry about the lack of privacy. If you wanted to do it, you found a way. That's why I think the biggest thing is just the way people are socially wired. Maybe due to COVID, people spending so much time indoors, not being even willing. Like we got guys that are like, in their 20s and never have approached a woman. And yeah, you could say that most relationships do start, probably through school or the workplace, like and stuff like that. But it's still, I do think that cold approaching and like meeting people out and about while you're out your day, while you're at the gym or just moving around the world, going to your coffee shop, you see somebody that's attractive, and or maybe you just want to compliment somebody and speak to somebody and talk to them, start a conversation with somebody at the bus stop or some shit like that. Like a lot of people, that brings anxiety to a lot of people.
And less socializing, sex kind of stops being a priority. Once again, Gen Z isn't having sex because nothing is sexy anymore.
Yeah, man. I get what she's saying with that whole premise, but I don't think that nothing is sexy. I think a lot of shit is sexy. It's just people feel like the access to it is, at least on the guys' end, right? They feel like the cost of entry, the access, having the time, all of those things, they feel like that is the a lot of the issue. A lot of these guys, like I said, they don't know how to talk to women, which is sad. But like I always say, best tips I can give you to build your confidence up is shit, bro. Don't be scared of rejection, bro. That's just telling you which one. Like it's millions, billions of women on this planet. If one rejects you, that makes it easier for you to see what options that you do have available, right? And what I'm saying, don't worry about don't put these women on a pedestal. Like that's a big thing too, right? Because when you spend a lot of time gawking at women on social media and on these porn sites and stuff like that, that puts you in a mindset where like they're above you. So yeah, you're gonna be nervous around somebody that you feel is above you. You got to see them all as like, yo, that's a regular human. She eats, she farts, she sleeps, she does all the same shit that I do. She just got different parts, bro. And when you start seeing things like that and you humanize women instead of objectifying and sexualizing them so much, and you know, when you finally do get a date, go into it with a open mind, a more open mind, and not really expecting anything. I feel like the best times are when you're not really chasing anything as far as like a woman or sex, and that shit just falls in your lap, bro. When you just got that mindset of like it's an abundance of it out here. It's not hard to get. It's easy to get. On the woman's side, I just think they gotta, you know, a lot of them got overinflated standards for sure. You know, some of them might should, you know, calm down a little bit, calm down a little. Give some of these other guys a chance. You know, I don't think getting sex or having it is a problem for most women. I just think that, you know, well, I don't think they should be kind of out here being sluts either. To definitely say that, but I think women, you know, they have it one or two times, and that guy, they didn't vet that guy correctly, so you know they feel like they just gave it up, and that guy just, you know, left them high and dry, or hit it and quit it, or some shit like that. But I do think to enter I feel like it's on the men, bro. I feel like it's on us to kind of initiate a lot of these things, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, we do give access when it comes to like the relationship aspects, but getting sex from women, that's kind of, that's on us, right? That's on us. Like, you know, I don't feel like I just feel like for women, they can walk outside, pull their pants down, and have 1,000 guys running. So the problem got to be mostly on the guy side, right? As far as like we're not getting what we want out of it. I don't know though, man. I'm just yapping. Let me know what y'all think about this whole thing down below in the comments. The reasons why you think that Gen Z is struggling with this. And yeah, I'm out.